This is the 10x Your Business podcast with Itay Paz, session number 4. Let's make it happen.
Welcome to the 10x Your Business podcast, where it's all about 10x your business results. Get more clients, make more money, and have more free time. And now, your host, entrepreneur, best-selling author, trainer, and international speaker, Itay Paz.
Welcome back to the 10x Your Business podcast. I'm so excited about our guest today, Matt Bacak. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Great. So you're a serial entrepreneur. You own multiple successful businesses, and you have written a few bestsellers. So you've done lots of stuff. So can you tell me what is your success secret?
My success secret, it's keeping momentum and keep on moving forward and staying focused. I mean, I guess those are the three main focus. I mean, biggest things is just never giving up, keep on going, and things get in the way, and just know that you got to jump over hurdles and make them happen, no matter what what gets in your way. And just going out in faith, no matter fear will creep in, but you got to keep on going.
So shit happens all the time for everyone, Then,
yeah, well, okay, you broke the curve. I can say things like that. Yeah, but yeah, things like that happen all the time.
Yeah, we can say that. Let's be honest. We're not sugarcoating anything. We always talk about the mindset of successful entrepreneurs. Yeah. So being able to go over these hurdles or challenges is part of the mindset. So how do you maintain and build your mindset? Because it's not something that everyone have and everyone should have.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, see, the interesting thing is the more you do things. See, I look at everything as, to me, everything I'm learning, right? So everything I do is an experience. Everything to me is I learn. So, I don't look at it, whether things happen, they go right, they go wrong. And it doesn't matter to me, because I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to be able to build from that. Meaning, I'm going to find out what went right. I'm going to find out what wrong. And I'm going to figure out how I can fix it so that it doesn't happen again in the future, especially documenting that information so they can keep on, as I'm moving forward, I can look back and say, okay, here's what went right, here's what went wrong, here's how we're going to fix it moving forward. Then now we move to a next level. It's okay, we did something again. We thought this was going to fix it. Maybe it fixed most of it, but it didn't fix everything. Okay, what went right, what went wrong? How can we fix that? And so as we go, we keep on honing in, and keep on making it better. It's not like I'm not blaming anything or anybody. It's just a matter of, okay, what did we learn? How can we grow? How can, in asking, really powerful questions of ourselves, instead of saying, no, why didn't this work? It's how can we make this work? At the end of the day.
Absolutely. Really powerful advice. Just, document stuff and learn and do all this stuff. Now, many people probably know you're very successful, but how everything began, most people are in an early stage. And they say, oh, you have the resources, you have stuff that they don't have to get to the point where you are. But you didn't have them at the beginning as well. So can you share the beginning?
Well, yeah. And let me just kind of talk to that for a second, because here's the thing, what most people don't realize. I got started marketing online in 1999. I really got started a little bit before that, but that's the time I can actually trace back to URL I bought. So that's when I first bought my first URL, back when it was like, $100 to buy a domain, I think, or something crazy like that. And you had to go to the special place, and it was kind of like nobody could figure out how to do it. So back then things were archaic. We didn't have affiliate programs. There was no such things. We didn't have opt-in pages. We didn't have the tools and everything else people have. So we had to kind of create it, figure all this stuff out on our own. It took us a lot longer to succeed, it seemed like, because we didn't have all the tools and everything else everybody has today. So it's funny, because today in the marketplace, I remember when guys are like, oh man, I just made they did $100,000. Now you do $1 million. Like, the equivalent's different. I'm seeing people accelerating their success a lot faster, because there's more leverageable tools, and plus guys like me and a lot of my friends, we paved the path to make it easier for others, to be able to go and stuff like that. We made a lot of mistakes. People were going in and doing that. We were the disruptors. We disrupted the market. And the cool thing is, it paved a path. The first guys go get shot, and a lot of us got a lot of wounds from it. But at the end of the day, it clears a path for a lot of us. Now, I mean, getting back to the beginning, I mean, because I was around, before the opt-in page, today opt-in pages are really big, sales funnels. I mean, it was funny. We were talking about this. I just got back from London. And while we were in London, we were just talking about, like, one of the things that we always believed is you don't ask for an order after somebody buys some from you. You don't ask for the order till 30 days later. That was like the old school thinking. And now it's like when somebody buys from you, 30 seconds later, you're asking for another order. So time has been compressed. Things are happening a lot faster now, and because the mindset's there, and we're also understanding buying behavior. But I mean, that's something to really, for a lot of people to think of. It's really cool because there's so many things around. I mean, we don't have to build HTML websites like we used to when I first started. Now there's all these different programs out there to make life 1,000 times easier, and getting old school guys like me to adapt to it has been taking a little longer. Now when I do it, I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier? Like, you guys got it easy, because we got all this crap we got to get out of our head to say, okay, let's move into the new. Let's start making things happen from there.
And you touched a valid point. I remember it was much easier in terms of no big competition, back then, 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago. But on the other side, there weren't, the technology, the how fast we can do that. It was much slower and much more difficult in many ways. So it's a really valid point. One of the things, you're very known is about lead generation. So, and that changed a lot as well.
Yeah, a lot.
It's almost changing, rapidly. How do you see today lead generation, and what advice can you give, business owners, entrepreneurs who wants to build their solid list that they can make money off?
Yeah, well, I mean, here has been, there's been transitions. It's funny because, a lot of times if we're an earlier adapter in different things, whether it was Google AdWords, whether it's, different things, Facebook right now is a really hot thing. But if you actually understand the history of what kind of happens is, you got disruptors, or the smaller guys coming in with smaller budgets, and they're figuring out how they can make things happen a lot quicker, get a lot of bigger response. And then big money starts coming in, and then it kind of changes, kind of the game, because like these organizations like Google says, why do I care about an account that's going to make me 100 grand when I can go after an account that's going to make me $1 million? So that starts creeping in. So they start, things start changing. And so as long as you understand that the way to survive in this business is to be able to get ready to adapt, for things in the future, and a lot of adaptations, which are really cool right now. Because when I first started, there was a thing called solo ads. There still is solo ads, but when originally I started using solo ads, it was, somebody has a list of 100,000 people. They would say, okay, I'm going to mail 100,000 people. That's how they base their cost. Today, it's migrated to, okay, we're not looking at just how many people you have on your list. It's how many clicks can somebody send you to get that traffic to your page. And then I'm starting to see, and here's where we're moving to. It's not just going to be, it wasn't about how many people you have on your list. It's not just about how many clicks you can send. It's going to start moving to how many actions can you actually perform, more on a CPA or more on a, level of cost per action. Like, hey, I'm looking for, let's say I'm buying a solo ad, paying somebody to mail out to drive them to an opt-in page. And, instead of it just being paying per click, now we're paying per action. And that's starting to come around, and you're going to start seeing that. So that's going to be the new migration into it, which is good. I think, especially if you find good resources that are doing and that people are, there's legitimate places you can use. So as soon as that moves in, that's going to be really good. And that's going to be a game changer for a lot of people. But here's the other game changer, which I do have an older, is we got the cell phones now. If you look at this, more and more people are, leveraging and using the phone, capturing email addresses from the phone instead of just from the desktop. When I first started, it was, basically desktop, and then it moved to, laptops and iPads. And now we're getting to a lot more things are happening with cellular, and it's really building that list from there. And, because I think where we're really moving to, it's kind of funny because there's a big gap right now in the marketplace that people don't see is really collecting phone numbers, because we can actually utilize, a phone number just like we can utilize an email address through autoresponders making offers. I mean, people could literally just text in and say, yeah, would you like to buy this? Yes. And then it bills to their account. So now this world's going to open up to a whole new world here very shortly.
So you see the future of email marketing actually going into, I don't want to say text, but like phone marketing in that sense?
Oh, it's going to have to be. I was at an event in Australia last year, and I stood up in the room, and I grabbed my computer and I picked it up, and I said, how many people here have one of these with them? And like 5 people in the audience. I mean, out of 500 people or 1,000, 5 people had a computer. I said, how many people got one of these? And raised my hand up, and everybody, the whole room went, lit up. And so, communicating to this and communicating to the computer, it's a lot more people have this everywhere they go. So it is going to be, you're going to have to take that consideration. It's an early, the world does take a little while, right? To start catching on to things. But once you notice it earlier, it's just kind of start getting ready for that. I mean, even today is like even optimizing your sites for the thing. We're optimizing our emails so that they can actually show up in the, before we never thought of, we're sending out emails, making sure it's optimized so that, people could read the whole message in our emails. So there's a lot of those changes occurring right now that, we've got to be ready for. And, with these new generations coming up that, when we grew up, there wasn't computers around like as relevant as they are. But now the way the next generation's coming in, and the kids that are making a lot of money online, I say kids, I mean, the people making a lot of money now online right now, they grew up with computers all their life. So it's different. And the thing is that they see the world differently than we ever did, because we see it as, we were scared. I remember when I first started, people were scared to give their email address. Now it's like, oh, here you go. It's easy. It's a lot. People are more open to doing it because it's not new. It's just like, it's the way things are.
So you're saying people are more, happy to give their emails, but it still goes back to the fact of, actually, it's not even opening rate. It's about delivering into their inbox. So you can send emails, but that's a big challenge today as well, right?
Yeah, it is. Actually, it's funny you said that, because I'm actually going back and forth with. I just met with the owner of Autorespons Plus in London, and he's setting me up an account right now. So he's like, set this up, do this, and it's a little different. He actually utilizes, I don't want to get into it because I don't know it as well, but he's actually utilizing Schema. I don't know if you know, are you familiar with schema.org or Schema?
Yes.
Markup. Yeah, where a lot of people are using
for the people who are listening to us, it's technology gibberish, but
yeah. But it's a key word you guys want to, I'll just say, put it in the back of your head, write it down, look into using that specifically for optimizing your websites. And that's where I really got, I got guys, I mean, so when you and I mean, when we first online, back then, we could actually take opt-in pages, the top search engines. Google wasn't slapping them or getting them out of there. We could run Google AdWords to opt-in pages. We can't do that today. We could do that on Facebook, but we can't do that today on Google, unless you do it a little, hidden way, like maybe through a survey and then you capture information a little bit. But you can't do it the way that just doing it from there. But what's happening is right now, especially with Schema, is I know guys literally blank websites, take them to the top of search engines in less than 2 hours. So I was fascinated about this, and I'm sitting there talking to the guy that owns Autorespons Plus. He's out of the UK, and he's telling me how he's utilizing Schema in emails, which I don't know much about, but I'm telling you, I'm kind of excited because I've seen the technology, because it's kind of serving this data to the the search engines and now the ISPs to be able to get your emails delivered. So I want to get my head around that a little bit more, but just let you guys know that's kind of going to start happening in the future. We'll start seeing more and more autoresponders starting to do that. This guy's on the cutting edge of stuff, which is really good. He just bought the company last year, now he's starting to come out and tell people like, hey, we got new ownership and he's going to start taking over, which I'm going to help him do, because me, I used to be a big advocate of this company called Autorespons Plus, and then I moved away, went to GetResponse and GetResponse and Aweber and other third-party services, but I'm moving back. Hopefully things work out the way he says. He painted a nice picture. It looks like heaven there now. So, but anyway, but bottom line is this is for everybody is just to realize like really cool stuff's happening that's going to give you guys a big edge.
Amazing. Technology is running really fast, and will be always something new. But you said that the kids, I think well, we're still kids and we're still there, and we're still, I think, there's a new generation coming. But when you're looking at the business owners, and you see them at all ages, and it's very interesting to see that at our age, it's more about being steady, building something a little bit long term. And the fast kids, you know, we call them the kids, but it's young people are.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's amazing. I mean, you just who was I? Was it Airbnb? There was somebody we were just talking. Was it yesterday? We were talking about. I think the guy that started Airbnb is like 16 or 18 years old. Like, it's ridiculous. You know, I mean, it's crazy what's going on in the marketplace.
And these are the type of companies we always laugh. You say, you know, this is a company that has no rooms. It's the biggest, I think, hotel in the chain in the world. They have no single room. So.
Well, and not to get too out there for a lot of people, but I will tell you, if you actually see what's going on now with Uber, now with Airbnb, now with this, and my uncle used to work for Cisco Systems and building and developing stuff. Now he works for another company. I don't know what it is, but it was funny. We're in two radically different worlds, and we had a conversation at his father's house, my grandpa's house, and I said, here's what the most fascinating thing that's happening is people are leveraging. It's all about leveraging other people's stuff. You know, it's not about, like, you don't need to have any assets. You leverage everybody else's assets, and that's what's happening today in the market. So one thing to put in the back of your head is, how can I leverage other people's assets? And that's where the big thing, the big disruptors in the market right now, the big things that are starting to really make things happen. Uber, think about this. They own no cars, but they leverage everybody's cars. You got Airbnb. They have no hotels, but they leverage everybody's, you know, locations, you know. And so it's really cool what we're starting to see, and we'll see more and more of this. Now they're doing it with planes. I was just on a train ride in York, England, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, do you want to go in with me? It's 10 grand, you know, we can rent planes. You pick up these legs and all this other stuff." It's like, man, this is crazy. You know, what's going on?
Yep, things changing for everyone, and you know, sometimes we're getting old, so I'm telling myself, hey, I like the old world a little bit. I miss it a little bit.
Well, and let's say something to everybody, for everybody that's listening. You've got to understand too. Here's the key to becoming successful on the internet. Key to be successful in business whatsoever is understanding. Yes, all these things are great, and these are, you know, some of these, you know, they're disrupting ideas and things like that. But when it comes down to it, if you don't master the basics and the fundamentals of business and get good at the fundamentals, you're going to get destroyed. You know, and so. Meaning, you know, like, it's even when this, like what we're talking about with email marketing. I mean, email marketing has been around, and it's going to be around. I mean, politicians use it to raise capital. You know, when you start noticing politicians utilizing a strategy, you know it's going to be around. They're going to make sure, because it's, you know, it's pretty much almost free. It's one of the most profitable ways for them to get funding. I mean, in the States, you know, Obama raised, I don't know, $22 million through email, you know, for his campaign, or some crazy number. You know, and that's actually, I think that's even way low. But my point being is that, you know, and he's utilizing opt-in pages just like we were. I remember people calling me up like, "Oh my gosh, he's using an opt-in page for his front page," you know, and people just don't realize that, you know, the core basics and fundamentals of things, whether it is getting people's information so you can contact them, build a list, you know, that's the key. I mean, that's the key for a lot of people. You know, the best assets you can ever have in your businesses, you know, is an email list. I was talking to I think he was 16 years old. He was at the event, and I said to him, I said, look, he asked me, he goes, "What do you think I should be focusing on now?" And I said two things. I said, one, focus on building your list. That's going to get you a lot of cash. Two, focus on continuity. That's going to build an asset that you can actually later on sell if you ever chose to. I said, focus on those two things, and you're going to crush it.
Awesome. So you actually answered the next question. I want to ask you about businesses, what they should do. So you said one is email list. Absolutely. That's your core potential clients and clients that already bought from you, and they can buy more and more. And that's one of the things we always see, that you go to a business and you tell them, do you have a list? They said, oh, we never had a list. So the first thing we tell them, go and call everyone, take your clients, take their phone and use it right away. You can make more money right away. So that's one thing, very, very important. The second thing, you were talking about continuity. So, you know, we're all for continuity, but there is continuity, like, okay, so I'm buying a domain. It's some kind of continuity, or I'm going into get response or whatever it is. It's probably I'm going to be there for a long, long time. It's a continuity
software
service.
As a service. Yeah, software as a service is a really big continuity thing. Go ahead.
But most businesses are not doing software, and then when we're going continuity, there's a certain lifetime expectancy, how many months are they or years they're staying inside, and it's getting short every time. So when you're looking at continuity, how do you see
Well,
that?
it really depends. It really depends. I will tell you this, like internet marketers, we kind of have tunnel vision. We only can see inside our world. I will tell you, there's a kid, 16-year-old, he's 17 now, that I've been working with, and he's doing over $30,000 a month online, maybe $50,000 a month. And when I first met him, he was doing like $1,000 a month, and over the months and years, he's grown and multiplied 10x. His goal is 10x everything he does. He wants 10x everything. But I bring that up because his continuity, he has a continuity program in the internet marketing space, in a tight niche in the internet marketing space. I don't want to reveal it just because it's just for his sake, but his continuity, I mean, they're past a year, like in the internet marketing space. I mean, especially with information, not software as a service. I mean, we're looking at, like, if we can get 90 days out of people, I mean, gosh, that's great. In his, it's like they just don't leave. Another guy, well, he has software as a service because he has a video thing. I mean, his is like, people have been with him for 5 years. I mean, he doesn't have a drop off. And I think it comes down to, different things. Another guy, he actually started, that I was working with, he actually lives down in Florida. And he did Steak of a Month Club. I mean, he literally owns a steak restaurant, and he's like, I need to add continuity to my steak restaurant. And he did a Steak of a Month Club, and they get this little card, and they get a free steak every month, and people pay to be part of this thing, and they have special and wining dining nights, and they can bring their family in and bring their friends. And then he, basically tries to sell people when they come to this special night for the free steak night, then, everybody else, he gets them involved, and he's got an amazing continuity program over it.
So would you say that physical or something that involves physical stuff, continuity is more powerful than membership site for steaks lovers?
Probably. I mean, it depends. Now we've got the Shave Club. They're doing really good, right? So they're selling a lot of stuff online. You got you buy the shave, you get the all this stuff from them. A lot of that's selling online. I'm just thinking, like, it doesn't have to be. I mean, it's a matter of, well, let's look at, like, right now. Microsoft noticed this trend. Instead of us buying software, putting on our computer, now we got to buy a freaking we buy a yearly membership in this thing. I mean, they just went from selling software in a package to now we got to push a button every
But the credit card
doing it. Yeah, Adobe's doing it. So it's one of those things you want to think. And here is I think the real true answer to what you're looking for, because I don't think it has to be physical. I don't think we just put it in those kind of boxes. But we can do and say, hey, where is there going to be a good pane of disconnect, right? Like where, with software, I mean, we got to use Microsoft, we got to use Word, so we have to, we have to pay this damn thing, right? It's kind of like the best reoccurring in the world is on the phone, right? I mean, people will pay, they won't pay their cable, but they'll pay their phone. So it's probably one of the better ones. But thinking from that perspective, what is something that they're just absolutely not going to want to do? We got Netflix came out with, their stuff. I mean, gosh, I mean, and they just raised their prices up, for $2, and now they're probably rebuilding at absolutely amazing numbers, even though they probably lost a few, but I bet you they gained 1,000 times more just by raising their price from $7.99 to $9.99 or wherever they went to. Here in the States for sure, but it's really that pain of disconnect, and they've created an environment where, hey, you can only really watch these shows, and they got smart. That's one thing that if you think about that and you look at the even Netflix model, they started creating their own shows and their own stuff. So then you have to pay to be able to see these things because you get hooked. People binge watch; they want to watch the next season, so they got to keep their membership to be able to watch the next season.
Absolutely. And you see it also with Amazon that started with Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Basically, you started with just paying to get free 2 days shipping. And then, they added more and more and more. And today you have, like you said, they give TV shows and they own production, which is amazing. This is also part of the bigger strategy, like Apple does as well, right? They give you everything around their products, software applications. You pay for it, but it's hard for you to leave them.
Yeah. And that's that's exactly what you just said. The key to anybody that wants to really build content, make it so that it's hard, whether it's a, and there's sometimes you could do stuff like, we have a continuity program we're coming out with again. And, it's like people want to be part of something. And if we can give them the shirts and, it's like, give them things where they feel like they're part of this community, that they leave, they're going to be not going to be connected with this community anymore. I mean, there's a pain to disconnect because, if you're dealing with, they're part of a family and they leave the family, kind of thing. So there's different ways to be able to handle it. So it creates a kind of pain, that when the people do disconnect, it doesn't make sense. And also it does have to, another thing to think about is the pricing too. Pricing, people look at different pricing, at certain things. Netflix being $10, you're just like, oh, whatever, like it's not a big deal. You're not like, oh, I just can't pay this month. Sometimes the higher things where there's not a big pain, if Netflix was, $100 a month, people would be like, man, they look at this, you know what, I can give up my TV for a while, if they're looking at their credit card statement. But at $9.99, whatever, it's like, that's kind of where people are. I've watched, I watched 3 movies and it saved me from going to the movie theater, so they're looking at it from their discount side of things too.
Absolutely awesome. So you're talking about like the pricing. So I want to ask you, and I know you've done, and I did as well, from selling something from buck to tens of thousands of dollars. So other than funneling, but in general, would you rather focus on higher numbers, get less clients and more money, or work on the mass market for lower amounts?
It really depends on the business model, I think. It really does depend. It depends on the business strategy and what you're really looking at. If you're looking at it from you're building a company, you're the sole proprietor, or you're the, as much as, you have a corporation, but it really is you're the sole, it comes different because that's this, your business becomes your lifestyle. You might want to play a game a little different, meaning, you're in the game, you want to get less. Less is more, having higher ticket stuff, that does make sense, right? But there's the other side of it is, if you do have a lot, especially if you're building up continuity, businesses right now, if you're looking at it, say, hey, wait, I'm building this asset, I'm building this as an asset, I'm going to sell off one day and get a big, huge payday. There's people loved buying continuity models. That's how I was telling that kid. I said, listen, if you came in and you had, a $30,000 a month, you're rebilling $30,000 a month or whatever the number was, and you came to one of us and said, hey, I want to sell this for a certain price, and we're just look at it like this is a no-brainer. We'll pick up this. Here's cash now, so we can keep on, if we can, to get our money back, depending on what multiple it is. But so depending on how big people are thinking, it's, am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Am I going to do this for a short term? What's my exit strategy is really the big question. What is the purpose of me doing this? Because I think that's a key for a lot of people to think about. For me specifically, and this is something that people to understand, I have a main corporation, which I'm not going to bring up, but I have a main corporation, and inside that I have a couple different divisions. I have one that we just did an app company. I sold that company off. I have the information business, which me and everybody knows me in the information business. I have another business over here. Well, is all my information. I don't have, here's one, we just got a new book that we're just, we're going to release. I got another book I'm going to release. It's my information, my stuff. This is strokes my ego. This is, and I know it's an ego-based business. It has to be because it's based on that. I'm sharing my content and, I'm sharing my stuff. That's not a sellable asset, but that's a very profitable business to be able to fund and fund my other things that I'm doing so that I can, grow them into assets I can sell off.
Awesome. So you were talking about overall strategy and exit strategy and life strategy. So I want to ask you about the lifestyle. You like I said, you're doing a lot. You've done a lot. So how do you manage it? The lifestyle between family and internet and business, which is 24/7. We always say, and for entrepreneurship is around the clock. And how do you handle it? And what's your life goal and mission?
That's a great question. I've been in this, I'm just thinking like, we're making a lot of changes. So it's kind of weird. Like, for me, so like, I literally just got out. I was actually swimming in the lake before I got here, and I just drove all the way down to do this call with you, with my kids. We were floating on the lake. But because I was doing a business meeting there this week, Monday and Tuesday. So it was kind of like a business meeting / just hanging out and getting to know each other to make sure that we're going to be there's something big happening that I'm working on, which is really huge. Can't really talk about it, but I can say that it's really huge, and it made sense to block everything out of my calendar and go wherever they told me to meet. Actually, I had to be flying to Cleveland this Saturday, which out of the blue I had to go there to go to Cleveland, get working on some stuff with it. But so, from a lifestyle perspective, it's really whatever you want to do. I think, I like to kind of mix it together. That's why I brought my family with me, because I was just in London, which I didn't bring my family with it. So it's like, come on, guys, come with me. I want to see you guys. So you can hang out, play in the pool while I'm over here talking the whole time, doing business. So, it's however anybody wants it, a lot of things. I'll tell you, one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made early on, because I made my millions early. I think I was 26 years old when I made first million. I only say that for one reason, because a lot of things that I did acquire and I did buy, I didn't buy it for myself. I bought it to show other people. And that was, I wish, looking back, I was young and dumb, and I wish I didn't do that, because I'd have a lot more wealth than I do right now because of that decision. So we're going through a transition right now, and we're selling our house. Should be selling it real shortly. We're moving to another area because I want to get closer to my land. I have tons of land. I am like, when I'm at my land, that's when I'm at. I love it. I have like 290 acres, and we got waterfalls and caves, and it's just like I am at home when I'm there, and that's where I get grounded, and I want to be closer to that. So it's kind of like you start coming into like, here, this is going to be best for the family. This is going to be best from here. So decisions used to be like, here's what's best for me. Now it's what's best for everybody else. So meanwhile, I can still maintain doing the things that I'm doing.
Great. Very enlightening strategy, and this podcast interview was amazing. Matt, if someone wants to follow you, and probably people would like to follow you, what's the best way to find you online?
That's a great question. Actually, I'll tell you the best thing. Just go to Facebook. I mean, really, I'm very, very communicative. I like to communicate through Facebook. I'm on Facebook. If you go to Facebook, just go to my fan page. Like me on that. You'll find out more things from there. The only way people can actually follow me online these days, especially get on my list in the internet marketing space, you have to buy something from me. So if you find one of my products, you buy it. You can go to a low ticket product, and then you'll get on my list and be able to follow from there. But I can't tell you to go to an opt-in page right now, because at this moment I don't have any. Probably next time we talk I will. I just turn them all off, and now my whole idea is, if you don't give me your credit card, then in order to opt into my stuff, you got to give me your credit card. So that's kind of how I'm playing now. It works really well, and it does. The people are a lot more responsive. I mean, you can have a list and just give you guys. You can have a list of 10,000 buyers, and it'll crush a list of 100,000 opt-ins, right? So and I know that, and I've seen that over the years. It took me a while to actually realize that it's not about like how big things are, it's about how the quality of things. So that's kind of where I do focus my energy and stuff like that. So but to get back around to it, that's the best way to get in touch with me.
Thank you very much, Matt. I appreciate you coming and leaving your family for a short time to be here with me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say thanks for the pants a while back.
Yes. So we know each other pretty well. There, I need to put the picture. I still have the picture.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah. So it's a funny story. Is it okay that I'll share?
Yeah, I don't care. It's funny.
So we met back, I think. Well, I think it was almost 10 years ago, right? 8.
Yeah, it was 06. I think it was 06, 05.
In Las Vegas, and I went to your room and we were talking, and you said, hey, I have a business meeting or something with people, and I came with shorts, and I was with long pants, like nice pants. So we said, okay, we looked at each other, and we just exchanged pants. We have pictures, we're holding the pants, and it was really funny. And then
they wouldn't let me in, because there's some places in Vegas they won't let you go in shorts. You have to wear at least pants, and we swapped them. I remember that.
So this is a story that we'll share for life, right? The pants story. Cool. So thank you, and thank you for everyone for being at the 10X podcast, your business podcast. And
I didn't realize it's 10X. I said I was using 10X before. I didn't realize this was called the 10X podcast. Literally 14. I mean, until he years old and met him, he's doing $1,000. Then he went from 1,000. This kid, I mean, you guys can do it. If he can do it, you guys can do it too. I mean, he went from $1,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000, and I think he's now at $50,000 a month online. I mean, he's always trying to 10x, his business, and he started off when he was 15, and now he's 17. And that's just one, just an idea. Like, I don't care, like, whatever excuse gets in your way. Let me end with this, guys. Because I wanted to say this earlier on, I didn't say it. One of the things that goes through my head a lot, and I was talking about this in London, is these words: do what you fear and the money will follow. And a lot of times when you get those things, these gremlins coming in, just like, you know what, you got to just I have these brass balls, you got to throw your brass balls on the table, and you just got to go, and do what you fear, just have faith and go.
I love it. Great, closing to this session. So thank you again, and thank you for everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to the 10X Your Business podcast with Itay Paz at www.itaypaz.net/podcast. We will be back with another great podcast next week. If you're digging what you're hearing, your next step is to go to iTunes and in the search box, type 10X Your Business. Click on Itay's picture and go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. And if you're feeling generous and you want to help other business owners and entrepreneurs like you to find this podcast, then give us your rating and review. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.